At IFA 2014 this week, we had a chance to speak to Mooley of Intel, who is Senior Vice President of Intel and responsible for perceptual computing. So everything you see with RealSense, with the 3D cameras, with the depth sensing cameras, Mooley is responsible for. I had 15 minutes with him to talk about a little bit about the market in general, and then talking about RealSense, the SDK, and a little bit about the future. So have a listen to this, 15 minutes with Mooley from Intel. So, let's start with just PC market recovery in general, or stability in general. Some signs of stability at least. But in which areas of the PC market are we seeing stability, more stability or even some growth?
So let's put it like this. What I'm saying is with a grain of salt. I used to manage the PC business, not for the last 2 years. My partner Kik is doing it, so I can tell you from what I'm reading in the internet, the understanding of it. First of all, I'm not surprised because for the last 2 years, people that talk to me, I didn't believe it's the post-PC era. Post-PC era, it was a great promotion that was done by the best marketers in the world, by Steve Jobs. And everybody said, oh, the PC is dead. The only thing they didn't notice is that 3 months later, he was on the same stage with a MacBook Air, and they said, this is the PC done right, and everybody, wow. And they forgot that this was supposed to be the post-PC era. Truth in advertisement in year 2013 definitely was a decline. I believe the question, if you look at IDC or Gartner, whatever, I believe it was in the range of 12+%, but I believe it was kind of a sharp rise of tablet that at that time took some share of wallet and the economy overall. If you look at 2014, definitely we see stabilization. I believe one of the areas that have been definitely stronger is the enterprise. Part of its replacement cycle due to the end of life for Windows XP. If I'll quote our CEO, we see the same strengths now going into SMB, so we expect to continue to see there's some recovery in some of the economies. US is looking better. So overall, again, I'm not an analyst, but I believe we see stabilization or slight increase. And once will come with additional things that we are working in Intel, like the no wires, if I'll be able to free you from wires by using WiDi and WiGig, and you don't have this chaos of wires all around you. If we'll be able to get rid of the passwords, which means you'll be your own password, you don't need to start typing your secret password, which 90% of the time is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then the second one, which is much more complicated, is 1, 2, 3, 4. And the other thing which we are working on, we are very proud, is the perceptual computing, which means redefine the man-machine interface, and we will add all this jazz, all these things into the PC. We believe that we'll be able to accelerate the replacement cycle, and the results, you will see additional growth. My private or my own opinion.
Right, so in 2011 you introduced the Ultrabook, which to me was more of a project rather than a product. It was there to enhance let's say encourage the manufacturers to enhance the laptop experience for the end users.
Because we noticed people would like to have something light, nice form factor, all-day battery life. You know, once you are used to your PC, the most annoying thing is that you're running out of juice in the middle of the day. So yes, it was kind of a whole platform initiative to move and make it more jazzy and not clunky, because, you know, the whole market went in this direction.
Yeah, yeah. So do you think the Ultrabook was a success in terms of being a project?
I believe yes, because if you go and now look at the shops and look at the notebook that you are using, you wouldn't see such a notebook 3-4 years ago. It would have been much thicker, much heavier. It's not just a much nicer device. So if you look around yourself and you see the number of SKUs that we've been able to influence or enable with our low power CPUs, lower power dissipation, etc., I think yes, I believe that notebooks of today do not look like notebook of 4 years ago.
Absolutely.
And if I'll give you some of the 4 years ago, you'll say, hey, I'm not going to touch it. So I believe we enabled some kind of a revolution, and because it takes time, people do not see it because it's not a step function. But yes, I believe the notebooks today are much more friendly, and if you add the latest revolution, which is detachable and convertible, so it will be a PC when you need it, a tablet when you want it. You are going with one of those. So definitely, I believe, yes, we are changing in the right direction.
Yeah, I agree. I think it has impacted the market, although the Ultrabook as a product may not have been had the sales numbers that we might have hoped for. But I'm an Ultrabook blogger, so of course that was an interesting area for me. And that's one of the reasons I chose it. Enhancing the laptop,
There's a few things that you do not necessarily see, because there's two things that we are trying to do. One is to sell. Normally, every business want to sell, and the other one to accelerate the replacement cycle. And I'm not sure you know how many people that have a notebook replace the notebook not because they had to, because they wanted to, because there was something nicer, more sexy, more appealing.
Yeah.
And this is something when you're looking at success and failure, definitely you need to factor in. And I don't know how many people have got the exact data. I would like to believe that in Intel we did the right surveys.
Yeah, okay. So that's enhancing the laptop. You mentioned perceptual computing a minute ago. That really is another a product or development that will enhance the laptop, maybe tablets as well.
Yes, not maybe.
Okay, good. Let's move on to that. So perceptual computing for the listener is, to me, it's giving extra senses to the laptop and tablet in terms of vision and hearing. And
I believe it's even more than that. If you look, what is the idea of perceptual computing? Again, it's not a 1 point, it's a journey. It might take us even 5-6 years. What we'd like to do is we would like to actually duplicate the way that we interact with each other. I would like to be that the man-machine interface will be similar to our interface. So it has to be intuitive, which means I don't want to use keyboard, I don't want to use the mouse, because when we speak with each other, we don't use it. I want it to be intuitive. It means I don't want to read instruction book when I go onto computer. I don't want to learn the computer language. I want the computer to learn my language. And I want it to be immersive. I want to do it so appealing. So actually the border between the real world and the virtual world will not be clear. So actually what we are trying to do is not only voice and vision, because when I look at you, I look at your face, I look at your facial recognition. Are you impressed by me? Am I boring you? Stuff like this. And you look at my face. Does this think that my question is smart or not? So we look at the facial, we look at the gender.
Yeah.
So we want to copy all of this together. So once you'll be with your computer, he will know you. The computer will know every second if you're happy, unhappy. Both the computer will know about you probably as much as you know about yourself.
Yeah.
And this is the way that we want to...
So it's about putting the sensors in. It's also about taking the data and understanding that data and making useful things.
Definitely. The idea, and you're 100% right, is not only taking the data. Taking the data is one thing. I can capture your face, I can monitor the face, but then I need to put all these algorithms, all the software that will know based on your face if you are smiling, if you are unhappy, what I need to do, etc. And it's processing the data what make the difference. Yeah. Because that's what our brain does. Our eyes see each other, our brain do the interpretation of what we see. That's what we'll try to do.
So I did the Perceptual Computing Challenge in 2009. That was a really interesting project. So there'll probably be people listening here that are developers. Can you give them status update on where we are with hardware and software in terms of SDK?
It's great. So yes, first of all, when we speak about perceptual computer, we need to understand that we expanded our portfolio, so we start speaking. At the beginning, it was only the front-facing or the user-facing. And today we add additional camera, which is the world-facing or the rear-facing, because one is kind of 20 to 70, 80 centimeters. The other one is going meters away. If I'll speak about the first one, we actually finished to develop the hardware. We are going to start shipping, or we already start shipping cameras. And I believe...
these are the small modules, the internal modules, rather than the RealSense cameras.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. We gave the RealSense camera at the beginning for the developers. It was just to accelerate it. And we took a solution that was there and say, guys, this is the initial SDK, let's see what you can do. Now we're delivering a complete solution, so we've got internal small form factor, low power, so you can integrate it into a PC and a tablet. We have the hardware, we start shipping it. It's been, you can see, this is, by the way, the world-facing. So you can see here the camera.
We'll get a
embedded.
picture of that up on the blog.
If you do a blog, if you want pictures, I can show you the two cameras, one next to the other. And more important for developers, not only that you'll have the hardware in order to do developer, you'll have a much more advanced SDK, software development kit, with more friendly API, with much better documentation. So relatively with a lower effort, you'll be able to develop great application on top of it. And most important, I believe that in spring refresh, you'll start to see all this category ramping in the market. So when you write your software or your application or whatever, then you'll be able to monetize it and make a business out of it, because that's what developers want to see.
Yeah. They also want to see an easy point of entry. The SDK is open and downloadable and free.
Yeah? Yes. The SDK are open, downloadable, and free.
And I know that you've been running some more competitions for software developers.
Yes.
What's the current competition you're running? There's the Ultimate Challenge 2, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
The million...
It's $1 million prize trophy to do
the entry point of that has passed, right? But are you planning to do stuff in 2015 to encourage developers to come along?
I believe so, but we need to look at the plan, and I don't want to pre-announce, but yes, we believe it. And I believe we need to do it only in the near future, because once we'll have the install base, etc., I believe all the developer will have enough incentive to do it by themselves. But we just wanted to see what people can do, and I'm telling you, the amount of innovation is astonishing. You'll be able to see some of the application down there. But, when you unleash the imagination of an army of developers, you get things that you didn't even dream about.
What's the, you've got some demos on the floor here at the Intel booth at IFA. What's the most fun demo?
It's ranging all the way, you'll be able to see it over here, starting from having spacecraft fighting each other and shooting, and you just move your hands the same way that you did as you have been a child, and which is so natural for you, all the way to Kagura, which is kind of, you can play on a virtual guitar and everything, and with gesture you can change the speed. All kind of DJ that you actually sit next to the screen and you can change the speed, or you can change the colors, and you can do all kind of things. You can see the way that you just, let's put it like this. Rather than talking, which is very difficult to convey the message, or doing PowerPoint karaoke, just go down to the booth, play with it, and I believe that your English is better than mine. You'll be able to explain it better than I can do.
All right, well, we'll see if we can get
your vocabulary is richer.
We'll see if we can get a video of that up on the site. Let's think about messages to users and messages to the manufacturers. Let's say we've got a user that's got a 2-year-old laptop. What would be the message from Intel to that laptop owner for 2015?
First of all, I don't believe that we'll go to any specific laptop owner. At the end of the day, it's each one's decision what to do and when to replace it. What I want to do is to deliver such an experience that the laptop owner will look at it and say, oh, I would like to have this one. And if you come to speak about the consumer community, especially in mature market, it's not an issue of affordability. Most of the people can afford the $699, $799, whatever. It's issue of desirability. How we give them something which is sexy enough that they would like to have. Because consumers do not buy something because they need it. Most of the consumer in mature markets, or many of those, have got what they need. They buy something because they want it, because they like it. And our challenge is to deliver something which is so appealing that they'll come to do it. Some of the people that have got 2 years old, which is the early adopter, probably will replace it. Others will decide that they want to wait a year. If you've got kids, and you'll see what kids can do with this, go and play with iSpy from Scholastic and stuff like this, say, hey, it's a great educational tool. I would like to have it. So we just try to deliver great experience, and then it's up to the individuals when they want to do the replacement. I would like to believe that we'll be able to change the needle and accelerate the replacement cycle of the notebook industry.
Right. I think that's what we got from the keynote here at IFA as well, that we want to make you desire a laptop rather than just having to change a laptop when the other one breaks.
I don't want you to want it. I want you to decide. I want you
Sexy
to love
laptops,
it. I want you to love it.
Laptops.
Yes.
Yeah.
People love their devices. I want you to love your notebook and to enjoy it. Yeah.
So IDF next week, the Intel Developer Forum. Can you give us any tips, previews, hints about what's going to happen there?
The answer is yes, I can. But I won't, because I'll be fired. You know that if we've got some nice tries, I believe you say in English.
Well,
but they've got some announcement, and definitely you don't want to pre-announce and hijack the parade. But I believe it. But it's a different place than IFA, because if you look about it, IFA is the consumer festival. In IDF, Intel Development Forum, I would call it, it's a geek festival. One thing I can tell you, that there was a trend or a shift a little bit in IDF to do it more consumer-oriented, and now it's going back to the geeks. It's the software, it's the bits, it's the bytes, it's the application, it's the power dissipation, it's all this language, which will not say too much to the consumer. It will speak more about the people that build and develop and need all this technology, and I believe you'll see much more focus on the technical community in IDF to show them what is the innovation we are going to.
It's a learning fest as well. It's one of my most enjoyable conferences of the year. It's the place where if you come to, you can see what's going to happen in 3 months on the market.
You can see
at IDF. You can learn about what might happen in the next 18 months.
I fully agree with you.
So my tip to people listening is go to the session catalog. It's on the Intel website. Have a look through at the topics on the session catalog. And you get a feel. You get a feel for the direction of the way it's going to go. It's
and you can also see some feel about the priority, where a company is spending more money, etc.
Yeah, good. Mooley Eden, thank you very much for your time here at IFA, and look forward to seeing you again next week at IDF, right?
No, I did too much travel, and I'll go back and continue to develop perceptual computing.
You're not on
We
stage.
are very
That's
close.
disappointing.
We are very close to the finish line, and I believe that we've got many capable people to do it over there. I've got too many points of frequent flyer lately.
Okay, thanks very much.
Thanks for talking to me.